Hello all, we are starting with lessons 7 and 8, translations of conics. I'm hoping that you're done with lessons 5 and 6. Please don't start watching these videos, it'll confuse you a little more if you've not done your lesson 5 and 6, especially with the hyperbolas. Some of the questions you might be able to do, but for most part you need to finish those lessons, watch those videos, do some questions on your own, and then get on to this. I wrote some equations, we'll talk about it. First, let's talk about what's happening here. So translations of conics. Initially, when we were talking about either one of our conics, parabola, ellipse, or hyperbola, they were all at the center. Like the vertex of the parabola was at the origin. The ellipse had the center of the ellipse was 0, 0, and the hyperbola had a center of 0, 0, right? Now it is being moved away from 0, 0. It's being moved away from the origin, and that's what we're going to determine. We're going to determine their new center or the vertex, and then based on that we're going to try graph them, find our A's and B's, our focus and directrix, whatever the question is asking us for. So let's quickly review these equations, right? So let's read. When a conic section is translated, shifted vertically and or horizontally, the center is no longer at the origin, right? And remember, let's read at the bottom of the page. What are the two new letters? You all are familiar with those two letters, H and K, where H and K is the vertex of the parabola and the center of the ellipse or hyperbola, right? So H and K are used for the translations. So the first one is, I wrote down the first equation that I have written in blue. This one is of the parabola whose vertex is at the origin, right? Remember, if y is squared, it's a horizontal parabola, meaning that if I had the axis, and it would be open like this, either to the left if it was negative 4p or right? And if I had the vertical one, it's going to be still centered at the origin. That's what we've been doing, right? But now our vertex will no longer be 0, 0. The ellipses, how do I know it's an ellipse? It's equal to 1. It's in standard form. There's a plus sign between the two, between x squared and y squared, right? So look at the difference. If I am shifting it right or left, it's going to be minus or plus h, depending on what it is. And k would be your vertical shift, right? And if a squared is under x squared, it is a horizontal ellipse, right? This is a horizontal, where it's wider on the sides. If it is, I'm going to use the red pen so that if the a squared is under y squared, it is more of a vertical ellipse, right? So just quick review of what we have been doing. The hyperbolas, again, how do I know it's a hyperbola? The biggest key feature is the minus. There's minus between the two. It's horizontal if x squared is first. So if it's horizontal, this is something it'll look like, right? That's what your horizontal hyperbola looks like. And if it is vertical, it is going to look like here. I'm going to try to squish it in, right? If it's vertical, your y square is first, right? Y square comes first. Look at this, a square and b square did not move. And now if you're centered, shifted from 0, 0 to anywhere, it would be h and k would determine where it shifted to. Okay, so let's get started with a question, because that will make you understand this more. I think the letters confuse many of you. So let's start with the first question. Okay, it says find the vertex, focus, and directrix of the following parabola. The first things first, always have your equation written in standard form. Is it in standard form? No, because this thing needs to move. This section, right, equals 8x minus 5. Before I even go further, I would highly recommend you rewrite those equations on a piece of paper. It will really help you rather than flipping back and forth, because you might end up copying the wrong formula, right? So now I'm going to write something that looked similar to this from the last page. It was what? Y minus k squared equals 4p x minus h, right? So if y is squared, we know it is what? A horizontal. That what tells me y is squared, so it's a horizontal. So let's write that down, horizontal. The first thing you need to determine, it's a horizontal parabola, right? Now I need to know my center, or sorry, my vertex here. What is my vertex? Compare. Look here. So what's my h? It's always written as h comma k. The vertex is written as h comma k. We should all know that, right? So it is what? Opposite sides, 5 comma 3, right? So 5 comma 3 is my center. I'm going to start graphing it also. I'm going to use a black marker. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3. So that is my vertex. Okay, so you know, if you know your vertex, and now you want to, using the vertex, if you want to find your focus and directrix, what do you need to know? You need to know your p. Look here, compare this equation. What's in place of p? This is it. You compare it. 4p is equal to 8. So solve for p. P is what? 8 divided by 4 is 2. So your focal length, or your p, is 2. So where your vertex is, you're going to go 2 to the right. That would give you the coordinates of your focus. And 2 to the left, and that will give you your line. 1 2. Oh, I counted wrong. 1 2. So that is my directrix, and directrix are vertical line, right? And it's x equals what? 3, right? So yes, x equals 3. And now my parabola, remember, is going to be open to the right, because it's positive. Up. And let's write down the coordinates. So we already wrote the vertex is 5 comma 3. We want to write the focus. Focus is what? It is 7 comma 3. And your directrix is a line. So it's going to be what? X equals, right? X equals, please put a colon after directrix, because people think, oh, I wrote x there, so that should be equation. No, you must write the word, and then, or don't write x equals. So this is too touch sensitive, so this is x equals 3. So that's what we have to do, right? It's the same idea, same concept, but now first thing we have to, there's an extra step to it, is we have to find the vertex, right? That's what my vertex was. You start with the vertex, and based off the vertex you do next one. I would highly recommend pause the video, see if you can do the second question, and then you can watch it. So let's get started. Okay, I hope you spent a little time on graphing it,